evening for all participants of this summer school from Yakutsk. And let me begin our report. In the first, I would like to notice that in our report, we will talk about the educational project that our organization proposes to implement this year. Due to the pandemic problem, there has been some delay in the implementation, but we hope to fulfill our plan, including with your support. The non-governmental organization, AG Environmental Education Center of Sakha Republic, has been operating to 3 directions for more than 20 years. The first is environmental organization, environmental education for children and youth and among the general population. The second one, environmental projects. And in the third, we are working as a resource center for supporting public initiatives among eco-activists and environmental NGOs. Over 23 years, more than 50 projects have been implemented with the support of international, federal, and Republican donors. There are projects and programs for environmental education of youth and children, ecological culture growth of the population, for public environmental water and forest monitoring by students and school children. We have equipped office and field equipment for environmental investigations in more than 40 groups, public groups in the Yakutia, implemented variety of environmental projects, eco-educational publishing projects, sustainable development for energy conservation in schools. Since 1996, we have been publishing an environmental magazine, Northern Light, for eco-activists and a number of environmental education manuals. The first resource center for NGOs in our republic was opened by AG in 1998. Also, AG created the Republican Network of Public Environmental Monitoring and Control, NPEM-AK, which includes the network of water monitoring, the network of education schools for sustainable development, the network of school forestries, the green network of the indigenous peoples of the North, agricultural schools, as well as the cells or groups conducting public control over the activity of industrial companies. The common network includes about 60 cells or groups. We conduct fundraising for eco-NGOs with mini-grant environmental contests, hold a grant competition for social projects, environmental and social projects with funds from Polish Gold Company, and administrate a small environmental grant competition for the Ecodelo Alliance in Yakutia. The first 3 phases of non-profit organization were organized in the Republic by our organization. We carry out a public environmental expertise of projects that have a negative impact on the environment and public health, and organize various environmental campaigns. And now I pass the word to the head of these projects, Lyudmila Argunova, who received a bachelor's degree this year of Northeastern Federal University with a specialty of environmental management. She also is the head of the Youth Climate Block of our organization. Please.
Thank you, Valentina Innokentivna. Good evening, everyone. Our youth group was created during participation in the first Republican gathering of the Network of Public Environmental Monitoring in September 2019, where we, a group of students, were invited as volunteers. The gathering was held by the AG Center. Our group has 9 members from various institutes and faculties of Northeast Federal University that located in Yakutsk. We are very interested in work of the groups of this Republican network of ecologists, which works in many areas across the Republic. And one of the direction of the network is the direction agriculture and ecology, which was very interesting to us, and we entered into this group, which includes groups of environmentalists from the agriculture regions of Central Group of Yakutia, and also the representative of agriculture schools. We organized several environmental meetings with experienced ecologists. We held campaigns for the separate collection of household waste, and we introduced these principles in student dormitories. The Republic of Sakha-Yakutia is the largest region of Russia. Its territory, over 3 million square kilometers, makes up 18% of the area of Russia. In Yakutia, there is a sharply continental climate and a zone of widespread permafrost. More than half of the Republic population lives in central Yakutia. For the most part, the indigenous inhabitants in rural areas conduct traditional nature management. They breed horses, cattle, and deer, are engaged in agriculture, hunting, gathering, and fishing. In recent years, tourism has been developing, including domestic agritourism. Every year, the global climate changes are more noticeable to society. A large international group of scientists conducts scientific research on global climate change. The influence of global warming is especially felt in the areas of distribution of perennial frozen rocks. Over the past 30 years, the average annual temperature in central Yakutia has increased by about 3 degrees, while on the planet the temperature has increased by about 1 degree. Such environmental changes are already seriously affecting the traditional nature management of local residents. Although there is no exact data of the extent of the impact of global warming on agriculture activities, which doesn't allow for many management decisions and government programs to adapt to these changes. Survey of representatives and indigenous people leading traditional types of management observe many changes of nature, flora, and fauna. Note an increase of number of floods causing the great damage. The first climatic refuges marked in the Arctic zones. These slides show how scary gills look in the village of Sinsk in Khangalatsky district of Yakutia. In our republic, the research activities of capable school children and students are very developed. Traditional scientific and practical conferences and forums for school children and youth are constantly held. Most of us, as school children, were actively engaged in the research work and took part in these events. But climate studies were not presented at such events. In addition, the Republic has an extensive network of agriculture schools. We want to attract this large army of the research students to collect information about the impact of global climate change on the landscapes of natural ecosystems located on permafrost, on agriculture, on the state of pastures, grasslands, and arable land. To do this, we will involve in this work a network of public environmental monitoring, which includes many cells led by school teachers, who can set the necessary tasks for young researchers and manage their work. Agro-specialized schools today are engaged in traditional types of economic activity: reindeer husbandry, fishing, hunting, horse breeding, cattle breeding, and agriculture, as well as mastering new areas, beekeeping, baking, and fur farming. Pursuant to the decree of the government of the Republic of Sakha-Yakutia on the additional financing of the agri schools, which fund in the amount of 40%, 35 new agriculture schools were created in the period from the 2013 to 2015. Today, there are 102 agriculture schools in our republic in 29 municipal districts and in the city of Yakutsk, including 71 full-time and 31 low-grade schools. Next, please. So, the goal of our project is studying the impact of global climate change on agriculture in Central Yakutia by school children and youth for long-term sustainable land use planning. For this, we set the following tasks: recruitment and training of volunteer groups from among young researchers from the districts of Central Yakutia, organization of agroecological monitoring, including changes of agricultural landscape as a result of global climate change in the districts of Central Yakutia, collection of data of agricultural landscape, including archive data for the last 30 years collected by volunteers and their analysis, broad information and spread of information of the obtained data in order to make management decisions on adaptation to climate change. At the moment, we are developing a methodological manual for agroecological monitoring with application of GIS technology. Specialists will teach school children and university students the following methods for determining the area of agricultural land, such as the vectorization by satellite and aerial photographs, using available satellite imagery, field measurements with GPS or GLONASS, creation of orthophoto maps, and digital elevation models in high resolution. Positive change that will occur as a result of the project on its completion and its long term. A methodological manual will be developed for organizing agroecological monitoring, studying the impact of climate change on the state of agricultural land using GIS technologies. Volunteer groups will be recruited from among the cells of the Republic Environmental Monitoring Network and the Republic of Sakha-Yakutia, and the agriculture schools, which will be trained in the methods of conducting agroecological monitoring, including the impact of the climate change on the agricultural landscape. Business trips to the districts of Central Yakutia will be organized with the training of volunteer groups that will conduct monitoring and research work subsequently. The ideas and suggestions from young researchers on measures to adapt to the impact of climate change in agriculture and how to solve the problems of agricultural land degradation as a result of permafrost thawing were collected. Thanks to this project, the number of members of the Youth Climate Block Group and the AG Environmental Education Center will increase, which will further expand their research area in the Republic. The first research data has been obtained, which will give us opportunity to communicate with governmental structures that make decisions on adapting agriculture to climate change. The development in the Republic of a whole network of young researchers of the impact of climate change on traditional nature management will make it possible to public campaigns to convey to society the identified risks to traditional nature management and to seek government decisions to take risk accounting and adapt to them. Traditionally, our organization works in the partnership with the state environmental, scientific, and educational institutions. Taking part to this summer school, we want to interest and attract students of AGATU to this project as a future specialized, so they can attract capable students from their homelands to research work, starting with the monitoring of agricultural landscape in the field, collecting archive data, organizing agroecological monitoring on professional base. Thank you for your attention. If you have a desire to become